Alrighty folks, this time, remember I was talking to you about retractable antennas and all antenna placement more than anything else, and how I was making up a little retractable antenna for this thing. Let me first qualify this one as really this retractable antenna is not necessary on this frame, and it's not necessary because when the antenna's down you've still got ground clearance with your gear down, the gimbal's off the ground. There's no real need for it, but to show how to do it, this was an easy frame to do it on, and I'll show you later on the other frame my favorite frame, how it works there. So this is pretty simple. I mean, I just plug everything in there. We've got connections, and if I pick this thing up, you'll see here when I lift the gear up, down comes the antenna, and when I lower the gear, up goes the antenna. Now, as I said, it's totally superfluous. There's no need for it on this quad, but just to demonstrate it, it was easy to mount it on this thing. These plugs are a poof to get out, but there you go. I've got that out. Turn the radio off. Don't need that anymore. That's how it works. Now, how do you make it? Well, you don't have to be a rocket science to do this one. What you need is a servo and a small wing servo, but it can be one of those little 5-gram Hobby King guys or whatever. The only thing is, try and see if you can get one that's got no back slop in the gears, no backlash. You want it to be a little bit tight. This servo is magic. This is a Free Sky servo, metal gear, metal case. It's way too heavy. It's way overkill for an antenna servo, but I'm just going to show you how to do it anyway. This is a little piece of carbon fiber angle that I bought about 7 years ago, and I keep chopping little pieces off it. It'll probably be still here when I'm dead and gone. But pretty much what you do is you just cut, a 6mm slice, line it up with the arms. Now, your choice, you can drill a couple of holes and put a couple of little screws and bond it on, or what I do is just use a bit of cotton string and put a little bit of CA glue it on, and then bind it, and then glue the cotton, and it's like a fishing rod tip or something like that. It's really, really solid. It won't come off. And then of course you just drill a hole, put your bracket through. Now, pretty much most of the transmitters you buy nowadays, the antenna just screws onto the transmitter. Go to Banggood or something like that, and they sell these little extensions where you can screw it on. You get that nice little flexible pigtail with the right angle bulkhead fitting on it. Drill a hole, mount it through there, and you don't have to be too smart to work out that goes up and down nicely. And mount your antenna on there, and you have this thing, and you can see how it works there. I mean, I'll drag it up a bit closer so you get a bit of an idea on it, but you can see how this is bound with a bit of cotton, and then that's CA'd, and it's solid as a brick shithouse basically, and there's no movement, no slop in there. It's all pretty good, and up and down it goes. As I say, on this frame you don't really need it. Just mount your antenna vertically and you get away with it. But then you get this frame, and this is what I'm building the retractable antennas for. And if you look at this frame, I mean, this thing's only got 2 inches, if it's lucky, 50mm. When it's sitting on the ground, I don't know if we can sit it over here, if we can see it. I've got the camera on a tripod, so I don't want to have to move it, but if we sit this in here, we've only got 5mm of ground clearance under here, under the camera and the gimbal, and we can see the antenna, it's basically touching the ground. So this is a immersion RC transmitter, and as I said, if you buy the flexible antenna that goes from here down to your servo or down to wherever and put that bulkhead fitting in, then you can hang your antenna, I'll take this one here, underneath. And imagine that's going to be retractable. I mean, if you look at that, where that's hanging, that's a million times better than it is stuck in there. It's got all the noise from the servo motor, from the gimbal motors. It's right next to the transmitter. I mean, this is really a bad place to put a video transmitter. So if you can imagine how easy it is once you have all this mounted up and you've got your antenna mounted on it. I mean, just look in here, you know, we can mount that under the, whoops, get this around the right way. We can mount that under there, for instance. So now our antenna rides up, and when we're flying, stick it down again, get our antenna down in the wind. You know, we've got it way down below the machine now. It's not really too much below our gimbal and our camera, but it's way better than what we've got, and it's out in the open. It's further away from the electronics noise on the gimbal, if there's any. It's further away from the transmitter noise. It's further away from the receiver, and it's further away from the motors. So, you know, it's all win-win, and it's all about little gains with this video stuff. I mean, the further away you can get it from any noise generation sites or spots from the ESCs and all that stuff, believe you me, the better you're going to go. And this is a 200 milliwatt transmitter. If we use that with the correct antennas and a good receiver like we've got here, you can see I've got two good antennas on this. I've got to modify the cable for the patch antenna so that it sits up a bit higher and a little bit further out of the way. That'll give me good coverage. That'll give me 2 kilometers, 3 kilometers with 200 milliwatts, no trouble at all. And 600 milliwatts on a good day, I'm going to say 6 to 8 kilometers. And I ain't flying at 6 to 8 kilometers away, because if it stops, it's too hard to find. It ain't coming back. I'm not in the business of throwing quads away in the desert. So there you go, folks. It's just as simple as that. Just a simple cheap servo. Say a little right angle bracket. That can be a piece of plastic. You can cut one of the kids' toys up, cut whatever you need up, so that mounts on there like that, and Bob's your uncle. You've got really clean line of sight with your antenna to your video receivers, and you're going to get a whole lot better FPV. Oh, there's a prop with a ding in it. Anyway, you're going to get a whole lot better FPV out of your multi-rotors just by taking a little bit of care and antenna placement. So I hope that helps, and we'll see you on the next one when we talk about receiver setups, video receiver setups.